So a couple weeks ago, I reported on Ontario's new campus free speech policy, which bans disruption of free speech and threatens to defund schools that don't promote it. But Ontario Premier Doug Ford is instituting another policy that will no longer require students to fund student journalists with mandatory fees, and some of the journalists are not happy. Let's check it out. One of the biggest problems we have here on American campuses is that students often have to chip in to support groups about which they couldn't care less. What usually happens then is the university or student government gets a pot worth 6 or even 7 figures, and they distribute those funds to various student groups. But when it comes to partisan campus groups, that money often goes overwhelmingly to funding left-wing organizations, probably partly due to most student activists being left-wing, and partly due to a biased student government or college administration. Ontario Premier Doug Ford's new policy looks to fix that by only requiring students to pay fees for stuff pertaining to academics, health, counseling, recreation, and athletics, with individual colleges, so not the government, individual colleges getting to decide if students cover the other fees. But the Canadian University Press, a nonprofit owned by dozens of Canadian student newspapers, was less than thrilled, saying most of our member papers rely on student fees to fund their work. Without access to this funding, Ontario student publications will not be able to operate. The jobs they provide to students will be gone. The jobs they provide to students. I don't know about you, but at my school, the University of Virginia, we didn't get paid to do student journalism. Working for the student paper was just like any other extracurricular activity. Anyway, the Canadian University Press continues, saying student journalists' important role of holding governing bodies, whether student unions or university administrations, to account will go unfulfilled. The group also calls Ford's policy a direct assault on freedom of the press and free speech. Okay, so first of all, how can students expect you to provide truthful coverage of student government or administrators when it's the student government that decides how much funding you get and the administrators that sometimes have to give their stamp of approval? Seems like a conflict of interest to me. You can still publish stuff if you're not getting paid, so this isn't an infringement on your free speech either. As for freedom of the press, that doesn't entitle you to other students' money. Sorry. For Campus Unmasked, I'm Rob Shimshock. If you like this video and support our mission, please make sure to comment and subscribe. If something happens on your campus and you'd like us to investigate, send us details using the form on campusunmasked.com.